one of our scripture which says about what kind of senses we are having is we have 5 knowledge getting senses, 5 knowledge acquiring senses from which we acquire knowledge. Basically we call it sensor. Like, we have eyes to see, we have tongue to taste, we have ears to hear, skin to experience heat, cold and touch. And similar way, we have nose to experience smell. But at the same time, we have 5 working senses as well, 5 working senses through which we do action on the external world. So these 5 senses are your speech, you can speak, okay, yeah, that is again tongue again come, and then you have hands, and then you have legs, so you can move around and you can do things, and then you have 2 more things, the rectum and genitals, through which you can do some other activities in the external world. So these are 5 performing senses. After that we have 5 objects of senses. 5 object of senses means, for eyes, what is the object of sense? That is form. Eyes get attracted to form and the colors and light. So the light is again, the sensory perception of the eyes is through light, and we are attracted towards form. In a similar way, for ears, the attracting object is sound. Like, interaction is through sound. So eyes interact with the form, ear interact with the sound. So vision and sound, like hearing, that is 2 object of senses. Then if you are having nose, then there is something called smell. This is again object of senses. If you are having tongue, then there is something called taste. Different thing taste differently. So again, this is an object of sense. So you have skin, so then it is receptive to touch. So touch is again an object of senses. So you have 5 object of senses corresponding to the 5 senses. 5 knowledge getting senses and 5 acting senses. So in this way we are having 15 in number. Beyond this, there is something called mind. So mind actually experience all these sense perception through the senses. So how the mind behaves, that is being discussed here, not the senses behaves. Senses, sometimes it may behave, senses are actually same for everyone. Like, if there is day, you will see light. If there is hot, you will feel hot. It is same for everyone. But what makes a difference is the mind. So here we are actually talking about the mind, and your consciousness, which is again more different from your mind. So now let us see what examples are given in this text. When a lusty action of my friend arise, lust in me, it is to be understood that my consciousness had lust. If some behavior of my friend makes me angry, it implies anger was already in my consciousness. When I see fault in others, I entails envy and pride was sitting in my consciousness. However, if one remains undisturbed, even in the presence of action connected to lust, greed, envy, and pride, then it is to be understood that such a person is internally situated. So, how we get lusty, how we get angry, how we get greedy. That is being explained here. We don't get lusty naturally. We become lusty when lustful objects are surrounding us. If the situation externally, if lust comes in front of us, we become lusty. That doesn't mean the situation is lusty. I have lust in my heart, I have anger in my heart, I have greed in my heart. But as soon the situation becomes favorable, that start manifesting. So this is the phenomena is being explained here in this paragraph. That so even if we don't manifest all these symptoms like lusty, greedy, enviousness, pride, we don't every time we don't what you can say display all these bad qualities also. But when the situation becomes favorable, all these start manifesting. But if somehow or other if you're able to kill, if you're able to remove lust, greed, anger, envy, everything from your heart, then even if the external situation arises in which there is so much lust, there is so much greed, there is so much envy, there is so much anger, internally, if those things are finished, then you won't be affected. by these external things. So that's why it is told that that person is internally situated. The example in Bhagavad Gita comes about sea, like sea, many rivers, so many rivers are entering into the sea, but its level never increases. Have you ever seen this? Because the sea is rising because of entrance of the rivers? No, it never happens. So many rivers goes to the sea, but level of the sea remains the same. So this is because it has expanded his consciousness to that level. So similar way, it is called the person who is internally situated is not affected by external situation. Externally, people may become angry. Externally, people may become lusty. Externally, people may become greedy. All these things will not affect him. Envy. Envy means, I think there are two words. Like one is called jealousy, one is called envy. So jealousy may be like passive, and envy is active. When you actually do to express your jealousy, so that is envy. So that is like we want to. Another example of envy. Envy, like to be very clear, like I have something. Jealousy, like this is everywhere found, and this is somewhat, I can call it natural, because somebody is growing. If you see that someone growing and you become jealous of him, that is very natural. But if suppose suppose somebody is distributing bananas and I got 5 bananas, and then my next person gets 10 bananas, I will ask him why he's getting 10. So this example is of jealousy. But if I get 5 bananas and next person get 1 banana, and I am telling why even he's getting even that 1, he should not get anything. I should get 5, but he should not get anything. So this kind of nature is called envy. It is somewhat extreme. So you should be a little know that envy is a anartha, which is a negative quality which is in us. So now sir is asking in this next paragraph that do you think that all these things are affecting your consciousness? So at least the people I know, in my knowledge, I've never seen any people free from this. And I have seen few people, like those are practicing from long period of time, they are able to get rid of this. I have seen both kind of people. Those who are having all these qualities, those kind of people called normal people, and those who have practiced spirituality, practice purification of consciousness, and able to get rid of themselves from these negative qualities. So both the examples are available. So here sir is asking, please ask this question to yourself: what is my consciousness? At present, consciousness of each and every one of us is filled with vices, such as envy, lust, greed, anger, ignorance. In another sense, the structure of my consciousness is very ghastly, like a venomous snake, full of envy to others, or a worm inside the stool. Is absolute ignorance. Unfortunately, we all have similar state, but irony is that we always find fault with others. This fault finding is compared to the mentality of a fly in our Shastra. The fly always sits on dirt. Similarly, we always find faults in others instead of looking into our own faults. On the other hand, is a honey bee which always sits on the flower. Likewise, internally situated person sees others' good qualities. This is why one needs to realize the soul, the spiritual master, to guide us in spiritual life. It is the spiritual master who tells us about our consciousness better than us, because the spiritual master can see through the consciousness. So basically, here sir is discussing that in order to grow in any field, you need a guide. Like if you want to learn nice dancing, you will go to a dance teacher, because if you can learn dancing by seeing the videos also. But if you go to a teacher, you will learn better way, and you will learn faster, and you will know versatile things. In the similar way, if you want to know about spirituality, if you want to actually work on your negative qualities, and you want to remove all these negativities from your consciousness, you need a guide, a help. That we call spiritual master. So when spiritual guides, by taking spiritual instructions, practice spirituality, what happens is, it's called purification of consciousness. So now, who needs it? Actually, everybody needs it. Let him be a professional, let him be a sportsman, let him be a big musician, let him be a politician. Everyone needs purification of consciousness. That's what our Indian culture was. Rather be he's a king, rather be he's a businessman, rather be he's a nice chariot driver. Everyone was working. He know the goal of life is to purify your heart in order to grow in spiritual consciousness. So that helps us in becoming a good human being. Nowadays civilization, I don't know, I don't want to criticize, but at least by our basic conscience, we can see that, nowadays civilization is teaching us only what an animal does. Mahabharata says, Ahar, Nidra, Bhai, Maithun. He does only 4 things. He eats, he sleeps, he begets child, and then he protects himself from external attack. Ahar, Nidra, Bhai, Maithun. And these 4 things only they do. If human being also lives only for the purpose of fulfilling these 4 needs, Ahar, Nidra, Bhai, Maithun, then he is no better than an animal. Because human being is expected to do more. So that more is that he is advanced in consciousness, and he should learn how a human being can grow in spiritual consciousness. Because body is there, body needs are there. Similarly, mind is there, the mind's need is there. Intellect is there, intellectual need is there. Above than mind intelligence and your mind intelligence, there is soul. And happiness at the level of soul remains permanent. Happiness at the level of mind, intelligence, ego, and body remains temporary. So we want something called permanent. Because, you have learned from your previous classes that, we are not the body, we are spirit, soul. So this is very, very important. So being a soul, we don't like temporary things. Temporary things doesn't attract us. We need permanent things. So if the happiness is permanent, then we will be happily situated. Just imagine you go to your mess. Nowadays it's closed, everything is closed. But suppose in a mess, sweet dish is allowed unlimited. So you will say, oh wow, today I can eat n amount of sweets. And how many sweets are there? There are 20 varieties of sweets are there, and you can eat n amount of time. And then what will happen? That day you won't be able to eat. Why? Because the stomach is limited. You want to enjoy unlimitedly, but your stomach is limited. So you will try, and then you will say, no, ab kuch nahi khaunga. Mera pet bhar gaya. And you won't unable to even try that those 20 available sweets. And next day, no sweets are available. And then you may remember, arey yaar, wo wala sweet khana tha. That I must have tried. So this kind of behavior is due to our limited capacity. But the soul doesn't want this limited capacity. The soul wants unlimited capacity, unlimited happiness. So the happiness at the level of senses, mind and intelligence will always remain temporary and won't be able to satisfy the soul with full content. So the only way to satisfy the soul to its fullest extent is growing in spiritual consciousness. You will see the happiness is not a function of how much you eat, how many movies you have watched, how many books you have read. It's not a function of all these things. It's something which is matter related to the soul, how much your soul is satisfied. And but we don't know actually how to do it. That we have to accept that, that is, I also accept that, when I came 8 years before in connection to this knowledge, I also don't know how to execute this process. I don't know how to become happy. I don't know, I have these negativities, although I have it, but I don't knew it. But then gradually, with spiritual guidance, I got to know that, okay, I have this negativities, I have to work on it. How to work on it? How to get rid of it? How can I develop more and more compassion and love instead of hatred and anger? How can I get rid of this envy and generate generosity? How can I become more and more lovable instead of becoming lusty? And this transformation should happen from inside. not externally imposed. How can I naturally become competent to do all these things? So that is learned through spiritual knowledge. And now spiritual knowledge is not only theory, it's a combination of two things, theory plus practical. So theory is like the things which we are discussing. It has knowledge, it has content, it tells about you, it tells about different ways by which how we are suffering. At the same time, it gives solutions. Like we do chanting, we sometimes we sing Hare Krishna Kirtan. So it is told in Kali Santana Upanishad, in the age of Kali Yuga. In the age of Kali Yuga is full of faults. Kale doshu nidhe rajan aste eko mahan guna. In this age of Kali Yuga, which is full of faults, everyone has faults. Like this paragraph also talks about faults. Everyone has faults, including me, you, everyone has faults. If you want to see faults, you will find it in everybody. But what is tell is, Kale doshu nidhe rajan. This Kali Yuga is full of faults. Asti eko mahan guna. But there is one very good quality. But what is that? Kirtanadi eva Krishnasya. If somebody able to chant or able to kirtan of Krishna, then what will happen? Mukta Sangha Param Vrajit will become free from all these negativities, free from all this fault. So that is the catch. So we read Shastras to benefit humanity. The Shastras are to help us. So when we take the knowledge of Shastra and implement in our life, then we see the benefit practically. So that's what is Sir is also expecting. Professor Bera is writing all these books just as to so that we can get help, the youth can get the help and able to practice spirituality in the most association of all other students also. So I will stop here. I think Sir is summarizing here. So summary is Sir is asking to mold the lifestyle in such a way that we can perform this spiritual practices and help each other to perform these spiritual practices. So I would like to ask if somebody has any question. I think time is restricting me to speak more. So actually I cannot listen to anyone's voice. So if you can write the question, that would be fine. Hello? Hare Krishna. Yeah, I can hear you.
Hare Krishna, you can ask the question.
Is there some question because I am unable to hear? If you can write, that will be better, I feel. Okay, so the question came, when we experience, who experienced, the soul or mind? Yeah, this is again dilemma, who experienced? Because senses are dead and soul is, suppose you pinch the body, you experience some pain. So you experience pain, but soul is Satchidanand and body is dead. So who will actually experience? So actually, experience is through consciousness actually. Experience is through consciousness. Wherever you project your consciousness, you can experience that. Actually, the experience is only one thing. One person experience, that is soul. That is you. You experience. That thing you should be very sure that you are experiencing, and you are not the body, you are spirit soul. So you are only experiencing. Okay? Because you are able to tell me that, I experience this. I experience this. So you are not the body, you are spirit soul. That to be very sure. But now the question should be, why I am experiencing happiness and pain? That should be a better question. Because definitely if you are experiencing something, it's you only who is experiencing. That should be very clear. Okay? If I know something, that means I have experienced it. Okay, now let me tell you different category of experiences. Suppose I touch a hot object. So I experience through senses. Okay. Now I am sleeping. I am sleeping and I wake up and tell you about a dream. That means also I also experience. But I am not experienced through senses, but through mind. So soul is experiencing sometimes by projecting its consciousness through the mind, sometimes projecting its consciousness through senses, sometimes projecting its consciousness through intelligence and ego. So wherever you project your consciousness, your soul will be able to experience that particular object. Suppose, like I gave you an example, you see something when you are awake. So that is when your consciousness is projected towards senses. When you are sleeping, still you sometimes able to see dreams without your eyes. So that is in the level of mind. That means your consciousness is projected towards your mind. At that time, you are able to see what is happening in your mind. Okay, so soul experience is only one thing that the soul is experiencing, and what you are experiencing depend on your consciousness, where you are projecting it to senses or to mind. So that is, so consciousness and soul, you should be aware about two things. Okay, through mind, through senses you can experience. Any other question?
Dheeraj Prabhu, Rajkumar Prabhu, if you have any questions you can ask.
To your voice is low actually.
I am asking the first years to ask the question. So I am asking them if...
Sure.
Dheeraj Prabhu and Rajkumar Prabhu.
Okay, so Hariom Prabhu asked a question. Then what does it mean that the soul is sleeping? So this is a high level question. Actually, soul is sleeping is referred to like Jeev Jago, Gora Chandra Bole. So whenever the soul is not knowledgeable about that he is having anarthas, he is suffering, that he don't know that he is not the body, he is spirit soul. So this is called ignorance, or called the soul is sleeping. So this is called sleeping of the soul when he don't know about his originality, what he is, and he is suffering, and he need to get out of this material world, or he need to get out of this suffering situation that he doesn't understand. That situation is called soul is sleeping. Okay, so Abhishek Prabhu, you can continue. Abhishek Bansal Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu, I have asked the first years. I have made my discussion before coming to you, so I don't have. You can continue for 5 more minutes if you want.
You have given some kind of assignments to them?
I discussed it already before coming, like from 7 to 7:15.
Okay. So I think time is, for me, time is over. You can carry on.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Okay,
So, actually, I am not taking your classes continuously, no, so I don't know what's going on, shloka recitation and other things. So that's why I just took the class, this section. So you can let me know next time whenever it is there. So I will be little prepared. I will ask the person before what he has teach. This time I didn't had contacted anyone who has like taken the previous classes. Then it would be like better explanation of everything.
Okay,
then I can explain better. Okay.
Okay.
So thank you for your patience and listening all the classes. So keep like the most important is to continue, because when you continuously hear, automatically more and more aware about the spiritual subject matter, and gradually your intellect develops, and you will be able to understand all this very easily. Okay. So all the best. Hare Krishna.